So you might ask, what does this really matter? This is like theoretical stuff. Let me try to convince you a little bit more that these ways of thinking about us as human beings do matter in the way that we act and manage. And let me just simply point out a number of examples. And bear with me, they are in some way stereotypical to make it easy to understand how they're impactful. In the economistic theoretical framework, an individual exists to maximize their own utility, their profit, their income. That is the main point. That is the marker of success. You are successful if you have a lot of money, if you make a lot of money, for example. Now think about, look around you, what is the marker of success in current society, in current organizations? It may be status, how high you rank in the organization. It may be money, how much you can afford. It may be a degree of some sort that you have. Those are ways of looking at life and seeing what success is. And this fits very much with the economistic narrative. And it would be foolish to say that that is not accurate. In many ways, our current society is looking at success through that lens. We have adopted an economistic view of life. Those theoretical assumptions are now part and parcel of how we view being successful. It didn't used to be like that, always. In fact, not long ago, it was very different, and material wealth wasn't considered necessarily a sign of success. People wanted to lead good lives. The church, whatever country you might come from, is oftentimes admonishing people to live in modest ways, to care for their soul, to care for their own salvation. That was in many ways a narrative that reigned for a long time. And success was meant that you lead a good life so that you could, when you die, rise and be in heaven or be saved. These narratives, of course, play a role still. But I'm just trying to point out that these ways of looking at things matter. They do matter in terms of what we organize for, what we manage for. The economistic theory, assuming that individual success is making money, is allowing you to get status, and that is success, reflects itself in what a company, an organization of people is doing and it trying to achieve. And in the context of business, this means profit maximization oftentimes, status maximization, size maximization. You want to be part of the biggest organization. You want to be part of the winningest organization. You want to be part of the organization that makes the most money. This is success in current economic thinking. Not only at the company level, of course, but also at societal levels. We think that GDP growth, for example, is a measure of success of a country. We do think that politicians are doing a good job when there is economic growth, when we maximize GDP. This all works well. It's a very simple and beautiful model. What we see are the cracks in this model. We see that it doesn't work at scale. It doesn't work for most people. We've talked about the challenges on the multiple levels before, the challenges that managers are facing. The environmental challenge doesn't allow for maximization theories or maximization ideas. Individually, people aren't very happy, even if they are rich. we know that people miss things. They miss friendship. They miss a higher purpose. We also know that organizations that have high profitability may not be doing the best things possible, may not employ the best people, may actually go bankrupt very soon, as we've seen with Enron and other big organizations in the financial crisis. So size and financial success don't oftentimes equate into excellence over time. I argue that the humanistic perspective allows us to get a better roadmap, a better theory of what it means to be successful, quote unquote. On the individual level, I would argue that to live with dignity, to be alive, to feel fully human, and to thrive is probably what we're all wanting to do. We want to be happy. Think about it yourself. What is it that you would want to do with all the money that you gain? Most of the time people will say, I want to have money so that I can live happily. Happiness is oftentimes the ultimate currency, people say. Companies, organizations, teams that are thriving do that and contribute to individual flourishing, to individual happiness. Not in the way that we typically understand, by handing out candy or sugary drinks or hanging out and being lazy. In fact, it's quite the opposite, because many people want to meaningfully engage with others' work and do meaningful engagement, collaboration, projects. In the humanistic perspective, we can see that we as humans thrive best when we do have meaningful work, when we do have friends at work, when we gain money, and when we feel safe. The company, therefore, in which that can work cannot maximize profit or one drive only. It needs to look at the organization much more like a community. A community that engages and allows for engagement with each other, where people can bond, where people can trust each other, where people don't even question whether they trust each other because it just comes natural, because people share a higher purpose that they work towards and they want to potentially solve problems, meaningful problems, problems that we're facing right now as a species, problems like the environmental problems, problems like the social and sustainability problems of inequality and poverty. Problems of this level are meaningful to us as a species. They are meaningful to us because they allow us to survive if we are able to solve them. So in many ways, a humanistic organization is one that allows people to meaningfully engage and solve these problems. Trusting, in a psychologically safe manner, without being threatened constantly, and with the possibility for meaningful engagement that allows to gain the kind of monies and material that you need to fulfill the drive to acquire. In typical traditional understanding, we think that there are businesses that need to maximize profits, and then there are nonprofit organizations that solve these other problems. This is a dichotomy that comes out of understanding one organization as maximizing the drive to acquire, and the other one maximizing the drive to bond or the drive to comprehend one way. It doesn't really work at this point. The humanistic perspective allows us to understand any type of organization as one that can balance these four drives. That would be an organization that solves social inequality problems, much like, for example, Muhammad Yunus's Grameen Bank, in a way so that people that work there can also survive well, earn money, do meaningful work with other people and they thrive together. These are social enterprises, social businesses, businesses that pursue multiple objectives, that pursue a balance of the drives, and these are increasingly common and desirable organizational types. B corporations, for example, are very popular. These are organizations that say we're not for profit, but we're for benefit. That means we're making money to solve a problem. And money is not the end goal, but money is a means towards an end of solving the problem. We're going to explore such companies and such organizations because what we've found over time is that these type of humanistic, balance-oriented organizations are much more successful. And it wouldn't be surprising that they are, because they're fundamentally addressing these human needs much better than any other type of organization. So with that, I want to simply suggest that these theoretical thoughts and conceptualizations, while they might be untypical for a traditional management class, are very critical to understanding the challenges that we're facing right now at this juncture. And this is what makes this class special and unique, because we can look at managerial problems from two different perspectives.